It's Movie Time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street on the South Campus Gateway.
It's Movie Time is written and produced by John DeSando. Get reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Hope Madden.
And this is... It's Movie Time! Hope, Birdman stars Michael Keaton. Can you give us a brief summary of the plot?
I can try.
Okay, yeah.
He plays Riggin, a fading Hollywood star who is best known for having played a suited-up comic book hero who is so irrelevant at this point that he's writing, producing, and starring in a Broadway play.
Yeah.
And it's really a comment on, I think, just relevance in today's society and fame because they talk a lot also about social media, which is power, which is fame, which has eluded most of the Hollywood figures in this, as well as all of the Broadway. So it's like 3 generations of fame all kind of duking it out on the screen in front of us.
You know, that tension that we always have between celebrity and real talent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's constant throughout this, and I think what the Michael Keaton character is attempting to do is to prove that he's not just Birdman, a.k.a. Batman, which
Sure.
Keaton himself had played.
Absolutely.
And dropped out of, right?
He did, after
Yeah,
the second.
The second one,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so there's always that lingering doubt as to whether he had made the right decision doing that, because after all, there's a lot of money involved and celebrity. And so there's a tension here about the art, and it's set in the St. James Theater on Broadway and 44th. And in fact, they had only 30 days in that place to do it, yeah. And so there's a lot also about acting.
Oh, a great deal. It's a very, I think, insider's perspective about the whole thing. And as much as the plot seems as if it is Michael Keaton sort of lampooning Michael Keaton, it's Edward Norton who skewers himself in the most delightful, hilarious way. The whole film has such an insider's just like impish attitude toward the craft, which I thought was very enjoyable. And we should point out that there's also a delusion that Birdman himself is talking to Michael Keaton's character throughout the entire film.
How do you respond to the magical realism in this? There are cases of telekinesis where he's able to move objects around. He actually moves in the air. And I know with a lot of Latin American films, we're used to that. How did you respond to that?
You know, I think that it works outside of one scene for me. And they do a lot of things. It's an amazingly impeccably well written movie. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss, the cabbie looking to get paid, or there are a lot of things that ground it, that give you, is it, isn't it, is it, isn't it? And there's just one scene where I think that it did not work. But yeah, I thought that honestly, I think the movie would have been fascinating without it. But with it, it was just over the top brilliant.
I agree with you, and I think it borders on perhaps being unnecessary, but he does it well.
Yeah.
In doing it. So, and I accept that magical realism. There's a lot of it that's going on in his head. What about the camera work? Oh, now, frequently we don't talk about that because we have so little time. And everybody expects camera work to be a number one, proficient and so on. But this...
Yeah, it was glorious. Like sometimes 15-minute long single takes. The camera just stalks at the actors. It haunts the theater. It winds through the hallways. And in a lot of respects, it's like the point of view of Birdman, or the point of view of the ghosts of the theater themselves. Or
yeah.
It's so beautifully done, and it had to be very challenging for the actors.
And it's probably using, of course, the Steadicam,
mm-hmm.
which is strapped on the technician and goes around. So you really do, for me, you have that claustrophobic feel behind the scenes,
mm-hmm.
where everything seems to be crunching in on you, because I've done some theater. Have you ever done any theater?
I have not.
Okay, so I had a real feeling I was immersed in the pre-production, what was going to happen the next night, and they had tryouts, they had their previews, and all of it is so tense. So many actors who are really talented, and you've got all this ego coming in, and it's really crushing you in the halls, and then you're going through, kind of winding your way through. It's marvelous. Emmanuel Lubezki,
Yes.
the
Cinematographer.
who also did Gravity.
Wow, that's right.
All right, so
That's So it's some talent there.
yeah, and it's
Some skill a little bit.
and although they're not the same, it's the same
Not at all,
idea. In
no.
Gravity, I think you had long takes.
You did, sure.
Yeah. Remember, in the early days when you just had film, I think you had 8 minutes was as long as you could possibly run a camera. And now with digital, of course, you can do more. But in this one, I bet you can find some of those cuts as the doors are closing.
Oh, I bet. Sure.
Around, but you can't really tell.
No.
And so there is that kind of bleed over from theater where everybody is going to be on for an hour, then a break, and then another hour. So there is that theater feel to it.
Yeah.
But going back to your comment about Ed Norton, if you missed him from after Fight Club, you said, what is this guy Norton doing? He's back.
Oh, yeah.
He is such a bad boy in this.
Oh my God, he's so good in this movie. He's so funny and wrong, and he's really wonderful. But the whole cast is great.
Yeah, so.
Zach Galifianakis is great. Emma Stone is great. Most of the rest are people you would expect to have turned in a good performance. Amy Ryan and Emma Stone. But yeah, the entire cast is just magnificent. Naomi Watts.
Emma Stone, kind of a revelation to me, really. She did just as well as any of the seasons.
She did.
Naomi always is great. I love seeing her. But I thought that Emma was really great. And she plays his daughter, Regan's daughter. That is Michael Keaton's daughter. And she is his personal assistant. That's probably not a good thing for him to do to have her there. So, in the end, does it answer anything for us?
Yeah, that's the one scene that didn't really work for me. It felt flippant to me. It felt flippant. But on the other hand, I think to me, the film had answered the question that the ambiguous ending sort of still leaves open. To me, the film had answered the question, and the ending wasn't ambiguous. And so the way that they closed the film felt not right to me.
Yeah, you like it closed.
Not necessarily. I like an ambiguous ending, but
Okay.
I did not feel as though there was ambiguity left.
Okay. Of course, we can't discuss it.
No, we
Darno,
can't.
because I know.
No.
That's really good. That's really interesting. I'm usually very liberal with my endings, and I was not certain exactly what had happened in that ending, so I wasn't sure. So you and I will talk afterwards, and you can let me know what you think about it. Hope, do you think this ranks with the films this year?
Actually, for me, this is the only film that competes with Boyhood for Best Film of the Year.
You're great. Me too. I'm thinking that I favor this more than Boyhood, and here's my reason. I love when there's a great deal going on. Probably too much going on in Birdman. All these different characters, all the excitement of putting on a production, all the angst of the individuals and everything, mixing in that magical realism. Boyhood just seems to me such a serene look at life.
It is.
And so I tend toward something which is more energetic, and Birdman. That's who I am, because Boyhood was my favorite up to this point. So you're going to have to struggle too.
Yes.
Well, we still have 2 months.
That's right. That's right. And there are, other good ones coming out. So maybe there will be more competition.
All right, Hope Madden. The film is Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, and it stars Michael Keaton. And Hope, your grade.
A.
And of course, how can I say it's maybe my favorite without giving it an A? So if you want an exciting time at the movies, and a challenge if you want it, or just enjoy the zaniness and craziness of an industry that we attempt to make some sense of.
It's true.